Hello and good morning from here, Scotland. And it's another phenomenal day. And I've got my darling sister Vida with me today. Vida, how you doing?
Woohoo! I am loving the sunshine, birds singing, sun shining. We've made it through the winter,
You and
hopefully,
me
at least
both.
for a day. Got to
I
take
know this
every ray
is
of sunshine when it comes, eh?
we're obviously here in Argyll, we're pre-midgie season, so it's just the perfect, beautiful time of year. As you say, I'm looking at all the greenery coming up, the birds singing, and just thinking of the wonderful long hot summer. And then
Getting all
remembering,
your
yeah,
wild garlic.
exactly. I went and did a harvest yesterday, it was yesterday, I think. Gorgeous. So much wild medicine coming out. It's amazing. So we are going to talk about Tarbert Festival. I'm actually really glad because you know what? Like since beginning of January, or well, even before that, I've been market, event, 14, two festivals, a retreat. And now I'm like that going, I've got nothing to do. Like,
Relax in
Tarbert
the sunshine.
Festival, I'm so glad it's coming up because I kind of feel that I need that connection again and all the excitement of the events, and meeting all the people that you meet and hearing all the stories and yeah. So I'm very
I know,
excited.
after the one in Skye, I was like, oh, thank goodness there's another one, because that would have,
Yeah,
yeah, it would have been really sad. It was so
I
lovely.
know. I know. And I was down at Malky's last week and the sauna is still in the workshop, but oh my God, is it beautiful. And it's huge. And it's going down by the river.
Oh,
And then obviously
yes.
we've got all the water sports with kayak magic on the other side of the road and all the incredible stuff that's going to be going on. I mean, it is just
Oh, I hope we get weather like this.
well, I'm like that. Let's have a wee prayer for that. Would be amazing after last year's hurricane. But it's good to know that it can be hugely successful regardless
Can
of
do
the
it in
weather.
all weather. Yeah.
But we all know that the sunshine changes. It changes everybody's mood. you
Yeah.
know. So I'm very excited about that, and the Tarbert holiday park is just looking more and more beautiful and amazing. It's like a little village of its own, and of course we've got Cornbury Cafe right there, so you've got everything that you need without going too far. So I don't know if you've looked at the program, but you're actually going on the Friday night to talk about family constellations because obviously we'll talk a little bit about what family constellations is. Some people are not ready to look at their family system, and we'll talk about that as well. But I think I always say this to you: it's really good for people to hear you talk about it because I think family constellations. What even is it? What does it do? How could it help me? So it's great that people can hear you talk about that and then they can come to the workshop on the Saturday if they feel drawn. But also that you're going to be, we know that we're drip feeding and, some of this stuff, it's our world. You forget that it can be really intimidating for people. But you're going to be around all weekend. You've got online stuff, you've offerings, you've got retreats. So really, if you're interested, if there's something saying, now who hasn't got stuff going on in their family?
Exactly.
Then there's a way in for you that will help you to feel safe. And I was saying this even about the Wim Hof instructors as well. Some people are still terrified of that idea, and you're like, you need to breathe. You don't understand how amazing the breath work is, and and you just want people to experience the relief from everything that we're doing. But I would say that the Wim Hof and family constellations really are these really powerful tools for now, I believe, for this time we're in right now, where we're starting to take responsibility and moving
Yeah.
out the victim perpetrator story. So, can you just talk about the actual? Because this was, I'd said to you, I've never had a constellation done, and you were like, so if there's something in your life you're stuck with, which could be finding a really happy, fulfilling relationship. It could be a wealth thing, that you're constantly living in poverty month to month. It could be your health. So I think, to connect these health, wealth, relationships to what's happened in the family system ancestrally that we might not even know about. Could you talk to that, please? Because I think that helps people to go, oh, aye, do you know what? I've had this nagging thing, or I've never seemed to get on top of this, or my relationships are never that fulfilling. Not understanding that you could be playing something out from your system that you don't even know about. So could you talk to that, please, for us?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Lilia. So that's the thing. People think family constellations, oh, I'm going to have to go into trauma. I'm going to have to look at trauma. We're going to have, and I don't want to do that. I'm not ready for it. I've not got the capacity, or I don't even know anything. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing in this is reinforcing the importance of the positives that come from your ancestors. So as you've said, I've been doing this for 8 years now, and every single scenario that I've seen where something is holding someone back, some area of their life, doesn't matter what it is, there's not a single issue that's presenting in someone's life that I haven't seen link back to their family system. And that's it, full stop. So what's happening is these invisible, subconscious patterns and unresolved situations that have been passed down in the DNA. Epigenetics is showing us that now, that we are playing out, we've got no idea about it, and this is what this amazing healing modality can do. Cut right through it, and it's not about trauma, because it's actually, to be honest, Lilia, it's non-negotiable now. If you look at the state of our health in this country, and people are now recognizing, right, I need to get my gut in order. I need to start eating properly. I need to start understanding. And people are accepting that now. Breath, all these things were toxins in the fabric conditioners and all of the toiletries and everything. People are opening to that. Okay, yeah. Years ago, no. So there's an awareness, like you said, of taking responsibility. But nobody is thinking about the foundation of where you came from, your whole blueprint, your whole everything. Where's that coming from? What's stored in there?
Mm-hmm.
A lot. So if for me it's fundamental, that's your foundation, that's your life source. And if that's not flowing in order from your mum and dad to you, you're not going to thrive at all. So what we're looking at is who's got health issues, who's got wealth issues, who's got relationship issues, who's got any kind business issues, situations at work, situations with friends. There's absolutely nothing that you could come and say, I've got a problem with this, that we wouldn't be able to link back to the family system.
Yeah. And I think, when you're old like me, and you can look and you can quite often see patterns repeating, because you're now observing through, your own generation, your kids, your grandkids. So you can actually observe. And even, the idea that we attract either the same as our mum and dad's relationship or the complete opposite of that. Either way, it's having an impact. And I think a bit like the microbiome, because we know there's so many things influencing how we feel. I think it's definitely, we have to go, well, recently a couple of friends of mine have had to have emergency surgery for a broken bone, and they had to wait 5 days in the hospital before the emergency surgery could take place. So we're now and that's a situation I cannot see improving, certainly not in the short term. So unless we start going, let's have a look in here, what can we do to prevent any kind of disease or any need to go to a hospital? It's really becoming, as you said, non-negotiable now, because the systems are crumbling in front of our eyes. And, and also I think the other powerful thing for me with my kids, because I know I passed a lot of crap on them. I was a nut job. And, I'm not, if I was to parent now, well, I probably wouldn't be a parent because it's a huge responsibility. But what I do know is the more work I do on myself, the more I impact the future generations. And I love the way you talk about the flow of life, which is kind of obvious. That flow of life from your mum and dad, regardless of how awful or brilliant they were, is coming through you. And if we want to keep that flow going, nobody, no pill, no surgery can fix that. It's got to be done on that energetic level. And I think, let me know if you agree with this, is that in our current model, it's all about the physical and the solid and the material. Whereas what we're talking about is the electromagnetic, energetic, invisible field, which actually comes in and affects our physical health. And that's something in modern, so-called modern medicine, doesn't take into account. And I think, really banging on about, we can't bang on about this enough, not because we're like a quack or a weirdo, as people call me. It's because you genuinely know how much it helps people, and you want to help people. And like when you think of Joanna and you think of Danielle, that both crossed over because of leukemia. And people say, do you not wish you'd known all this? And yes, of course I do. But the reality is, you don't go looking until that pain mostly hits you, and you are forced to look. And that happens for all. I mean, I was quite happy not caring about health. I like to do aerobics and eat well, but also like to party like a maniac as well. Only when you're forced that you're like, right, okay, right, now I need to pay attention. Big up the weirdos energy. Thanks, Kirsty. So yeah, thinking about this, to me, family constellations is it's obvious, but it's only obvious now because I've been hanging about with you. And really, when people are asking what is wild medicine, and I thought that's a really good question. How do we kind of quantify that? And I suppose for me, wild is wild that we don't know about this stuff, when it's been around for a long time, and wild that it's there for all of us to take. And I know that you give away a lot of stuff like I do for free because we want to help. So in the most succinct way possible, let's talk about Tarbert Festival. What's your kind of goal? Do you have a goal, or do you just go in and show up and see who shows up?
Well, I'm the same as you. I'm not here to promote family constellations because it's my business and I want to get rich. I want to help people, and it's that simple. This helps. This helps. So that's why I'm at Tarbert Festival, is to show people, even if it's no matter how deeply they want to go in or how little, to show a door into maybe a question around, how is your family system? How does it sit? I'll be talking about some of the fundamentals of family constellations. I'll be doing demonstrations. People will be able to have as much or as little as they want. And then I'll be sharing ongoing contact information, because I do online sessions every week that people are welcome to join for free if they want to just witness, if they want to see what it's all about, if they want to participate. It's free for participation. It's only if you're the client that you would pay. So this is a deep desire from my heart to spread and share this as much as we can throughout Scotland or anywhere else for people, because we've all got a family system, and I haven't met anyone yet that doesn't have issues with their mum or dad. Like, that's it. Even if they have now, you could tell me, but I've done loads and loads of work on it. Well, I believe you, and I believe you've done loads of work on it now, at the version of who you are now. But there's a part of you that's still sitting in before you've done the work. Let's say it's your inner child or whatever you want to label it. But there's a part of you that's still sitting with unresolved issues from whatever your mum or dad did or didn't do. So what I'm trying to bring a new perspective and a reframe is that this is also old, like wild medicine. It's based on the fact that our tribal people knew who they were for 10 generations. They knew the name of all of their ancestors, and they respected the hierarchy, and they were proud to come from that lineage, regardless of what their mum and dad thought, didn't do, who they spoke to, how they did it. All those stories were irrelevant. They received the life force from their parents with pride, and we don't have that. We're so disconnected. It's people are like, oh yeah, now they're realizing the power of nature. You go out in nature and it heals you, like the ancients told us. But they also told us, be in a family system, be part of a system, and know your place within that system. And we collectively over the generations have interfered with that, and we're now seeing the fallout, the same as we've interfered with the other natural laws. This is a natural law that we have interfered with that people are not recognising. They're not recognising the impact that this interference has made. So feeling aligned with your family system brings natural balance and helps you to thrive. And it's like the aquarium that you talk about. If your body is this aquarium and it starts to show the algae on the top, what do? Well, of course, if it's an aquarium, you clean out the filter, you do whatever you need to do. So we're recognizing that when some symptom is showing up, something's out of balance. So we start to try and harmonize the whole system by balancing it, right? So this is exactly the same with family constellations. If something's out in the system, it's causing an impact on the whole ecosystem, and we need to bring it back in, first of all. So whatever's been excluded is causing chaos, but nobody knows. So we bring it back in and we give it a place, and we start harmonizing the system by acknowledgements and acceptance. And I won't go into the whole way of how we do it, because that's what I'll talk about at Tarbert. And it's actually very, very simple. And it's something that a lot of people have maybe never even considered, that the impact that's coming into your life from having your family system out, for having even either resentment or being silenced or whatever it is, that, or even on a more serious level, a lot of abuse and neglect that we see, people coming in with big stories, because there's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of trauma in the in history in general for all of our ancestors, and that's getting passed on. But the way we work in constellations is by flipping it around back to the old ways, that our ancestors are actually a positive force to stand behind us and support us. And that's another thing that we can use to help ourselves, but we're not, because we're like, oh, no, I don't need that. I don't need that because I'm a solitary being who's just getting on with life. But we're not. We're part of a system. We can't ignore that. It's science. It's bigger. It's everything. We are part of a family system and a bigger system. If you accept that you're part of the nature, the system of nature, which most people are accepting now, how can we not see that we're part of our family system, and that when some part of that's not in balance, that we're going to be affected by it? Of course we are. That's why I'm saying it's non-negotiable. We're really getting impacted so much now, we're getting sick.
Well, it's another straw on the camel's back, isn't it? And it's a very big straw, like nutrition is, like holding on is, like lying is, like secrets are. All of that stuff that our GP, generally speaking, will not even discuss with us. And, as we can take, I just think that's the truest saying in the world. There's a straw that breaks the camel's back. And for a lot of people, that was the COVID infection or the COVID vaccine, or, it's a death. There's something that happens where you just think, I cannot cope anymore. And a lot of people are there. 25% of our population in Scotland are on benefits. Now, a lot of people want to moan and groan about that. We know it's not easy to get benefits. And it's not actually, for most people, even very nice to ask for them. So we have got a situation now which is unmanageable and intolerable, and we must, if you're well enough, learn all about wild medicine and the things that you can do. Because what I always say this, I always use the analogy with letting go. If you've been in your ski boot or your snowboarding boot all day, and then you take it off, you undo the clips, and it's like, that feels better. But you can actually take the whole boot off and feel way better. But most of us are just looking to be incrementally less stressed, incrementally more happy, more at ease. And, when you start understanding all of these things together, I was talking to Juliet last night, who did the spiritual. Did you do that workshop? The big, when you draw your body, draw your emotions?
It was brilliant.
And I was thinking that, it's a form of letting go as well. That's really what we need to do, is just like get in. All different ways work. And the more of it, it's not a competition, because I keep banging on about the need to collaborate. We need to collaborate without fear that somebody's going to take business from us or get more than us, but because there has never been a more important time to get all this information out. And I think, where you maybe find it okay to paint something, you may not find it that you want to come to me and tell me all your issues, or you may not want to go into a group. I know you do private constellations as well, and I think that's something that people should know about. Don't wash your dirty laundry in public kind of thing. So you can have a one-to-one with you wherever you're at on that path. If there's just something saying to you, pay attention, because the body obviously is always looking for solutions for you, because you're probably actually quietly asking, what is wrong with me? And there's nothing wrong with you. It's just a complete lack of understanding.
Like the body knows. The body wants to be in balance, but often what we find always in the family constellation situation is that it's shame. It's shame that's sitting there causing the body to go out of balance. This energy of shame is so difficult to hold on to, and it sits there and stagnates and manifests into all sorts. So instantly when someone tells me, oh, this person has this disease, my first thought is, what happened in the family system before them? Not to them, but before them. And this is the part that we're kind of not aware of, that nobody suggested. What happened before and is now having an impact? So people don't often know. Like, I know that my grandfather was a prisoner of war. That's going to have a lot of unresolved parts of it. But not everyone knows the stories about, and it doesn't matter, because for sure you're carrying them. You don't need to know what they are. If you know that you're carrying them and you know that there's shame involved, because all unresolved things come from shame or avoidance of pain, because we're humans and that's what we do. We avoid pain and we try to help the next generations avoid it as well. So we take it to the grave and no one else will have to deal with it. But that's not what happens. This is what gets passed on. So, and it's almost like it's out of love in a way, because it's warning us, don't do the same thing. Don't fall in love. But if the person's going to leave you, you're going to get hurt. So don't fall in love. So this belief passes on. Or a grandmother's child dies prematurely, and so don't bond with your children, because you'll not be able to deal with the pain of losing them. So from then on, we've got no mother-daughter bond all the way down through 4 generations, because it's, or a grandmother dies in childbirth, and then we see someone's like, oh, I can't conceive, or I can't carry full term, I have fertility issues, and there's a belief that don't give birth, you'll die. These things are so strong, and we're like, they're so strong. And then also people's shame of being excluded for how many pregnancies out of wedlock, or the Magdalene laundries, or all sorts of shame and exclusion around being sexual, being pregnant. We've got all of these sexual wounds, mother wounds, maternal, we lost the feminine, war, we had to survive, we couldn't be in our heart space. There's so many things that we're a result of now. But we can flip it. We don't have to go back into the trauma. We don't have to carry the shame.
Shame and guilt are huge, aren't they? And I was going to say, especially for women, around the whole kind of sexual energy, because there's so many stories and narratives of how and you should behave and how you did behave, and what you as Hildos can always says, are you shooting on yourself? What we shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's and as you say, and we know now, genetic information's coming in the DNA. We know that. So but that's not to make you a victim of the story or the past. It's just to put the light on and give you an understanding of maybe why things are happening that were out with you, so you can stop beating yourself up, stop being shameful, and start to realize, oh, right, okay, I'm here at this time to shine a light on this and to let it go and to move forward. And it just, I mean, we saw this at the Heal In, the courage that it takes to do this work. The courage that it takes to do breath work, the courage it takes to show up at an event, because there's so much fear in people. And also what really inspires others is to say, well, if they could do it, maybe I could do it. The fear thing astounds me at what people are scared of. Scared of feeling amazing, scared of feeling free, scared, but
they're scared of crying in front of someone else. They're scared all of these things. And again, every single one of them that we've seen at the Heal In links back to whatever's sitting in the family system, because we're so scared of not belonging. Like, we will do anything to belong, because if you go back to the tribal times, like, we actually, without the rest of the tribe, we would not survive. So it's that strong within us. It's survival. Belonging equals survival. So what did they tell you? Oh, if you do this, no, you'll be excluded. That's shameful. Don't behave like that. Don't do this. Don't cry in public. Don't let anyone see your emotions. So much more, and so people are scared to come because they might embarrass themselves. They might not be able to do it. So it's all of these things, and then you see the people coming, and it's just instant liberation. You just see the first breathwork session, and wow, it's like they just melt. And it's like, what were they scared of? And they go, I don't even know. But they were so scared of coming. And as soon as they get there, and the power of community, where we see we're all the same, we're all exactly the same. We're little kids who didn't get what we needed from our mum and dad. We're desperate to belong, and we're so confused, and we're carrying all sorts of shame and things that are putting us out of balance. But we've got big hearts, and we love each other, and we're desperate to try and heal. So what better place to come to a festival where you've got guidance on how we can all do that, and a safe place for us all to actually say, well, do you know what we do? We love each other because we're humans. And we've had enough. We've had enough of this separation. We've had enough of these fears and shames and being held back, because we can't do it anymore.
Yeah, no, we can't. Everybody's suffering, and it's putting so much stress on the immune system, because all the body hears is there's a problem, there's a problem, there's a problem. And if you say that often enough, the body's ejecting the stress hormones, and you're literally poisoning yourself without even understanding. And I think I'm seeing it obviously all around, neighbours complaining about other neighbours, and I'm sort of like that. Why do you even care about that? And people fighting and different beliefs and points of view, and it's like attacking each other. And I'm sort of like going, I've come out of my 3 months of zenness, going like, oh, all right, oh, I'm back in this, am I again? It's like, it just seems we're so intolerant now.
Yeah.
Expecting, it's that kind of entitlement. You should behave like this, and you should do this, and kids shouldn't make a noise, and they shouldn't be playing in the streets, and they shouldn't be. And you're like, well, what are they? You don't want them in the house and their devices, and you don't want them outside playing. What exactly you want them to do? It's like, it is madness, absolute madness.
We've got all the intolerances in the body.
Yeah.
And we've got intolerance everywhere of others. We're so tightly wound.
I know. And I think Joe Dispenza, obviously I couldn't do a podcast without mentioning Joe. He describes that really well at the start of The Source. When you go into the hormones of stress, which is cellular contraction, that's when you believe you're separate. And that's when you become selfish. Because if you're in that expanded, loving state, you're going to be looking out and going, oh, how nice the kids are out playing in the sunshine. You're not going to be going, look at them, what are they doing? It's the same thing. It's how you're feeling, how you're perceiving it. And a lot of people still not really fully understanding that, and why you would be so fixated on something that in the grand scheme of things just doesn't matter. And I think as we look at the gut, the nervous system, the family systems, the past hurts, traumas, etc., and where we're maybe not excelling in life, all of that is exacerbated and magnified by completely staying in the hormones of stress and judgment, complaining, blaming, shaming. Now, I know it's not easy. I do my fair share. But you got to catch yourself on and realise, this is not what I want to put out into the field. There's been a couple of really scary things happen to me recently, and I'm like, I need to put love at that, because putting pain and grief and fear at it, well, it's not good for my body and certainly not good for the people that I'm trying to support and love. So, and that's a challenge, you know, when it seems so dark and difficult and whatever, to go, no, 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 I need to stay, I need to keep my frequency up. And that's, I
It's the
think,
same as it's the same as if you've had a story in childhood with your parents or grandparents, or if there's abuse, or if there's anything that's just, it doesn't even have to be as strong as abuse, but if you're holding resentment or blame towards your parents for anything, then that's sitting in there as that vibration. If
uh-huh,
you've had a situation that's caused you to feel unsafe as a child, chances are now as an adult, you're just in constant fight or flight. And what's that doing to your system? It can't handle that. So
yeah,
most people are coming to me in constant fight or flight because they're in fear, under, even though their adultness can tell them, oh no, it's okay. They're still in fear, especially around relationships or business, career situations. They're in fear. So, or they're in blame or shame.
yeah,
So what we're doing is we're supporting a way to release them from that through family constellations. And then, people might say, oh, so you've just to forgive everyone for everything. You've just to let them away with it. Well, excuse me, we don't have forgiveness in family constellations. We don't have that term because that indicates someone's done something wrong that they should be forgiven for. So that elevates the forgiver above the other person. So it
uh-huh,
continues a victim and perpetrator dynamic, which we're all about dissolving, the same as justice. We're all about dissolving, because these illusions are actually what are keeping us in blame, shame, and complain energies. So
yeah.
whilst my mum couldn't get her head around that, how do you stop blaming and you just let people away with it?
Well, people say that to me about letting go. What, you just let it go, and then you're letting them off the hook, and it's not that at all. You and I discussed this actually, that it's in Sky, and I think it's worth actually talking about this because we both come up against the same thing where people get very triggered when you ask them to let go of victim perpetrator, because clearly, if somebody's been dragged off the street and raped and beaten, they're the victim of that. But also, the fact is that you were there, not that it's your fault in any shape or form. But it happened, and it's like it's being able to look at that and go, right, that happened. I was there. Why me? Well, I don't think we fully understand all the intricacies around the madness that's going on in the world. But it's that, where do you go from there, and how do you look forward instead of dragging that horrific thing? And it can take time. I think there's definitely a time where you're ready to go, right, I'm exhausted, I'm very, very sick. I remember speaking to a woman down south. Her and her two sisters had been sexually abused by their stepdad, and he went to jail. And when he came out, the mother took him back. And this one woman, her two sisters died of cancer, and she said to me, I know why that was. And I said, well, why? How did you survive it? And she said, my faith. I've got
Mm.
faith that everything happens for a reason. And that's kind of it, I suppose, is the ability, because ultimately, if you don't have faith, I don't know how you can navigate it. Because horrible things are happening. And it's like when you get to that place of intense pain. I know when Danielle was dying, I was said to Shirley, there's only one place we can go: prayer. Whenever, it's like you're taken to your knees. Your conscious mind can't make sense of it. You're in such deep pain. You want to blame, scream, complain, but it's not helping you after a while. It's like, what happens then? And it's, to me, faith is the thing that helps you to feel safe again. And that's ultimately what we're talking about, isn't it?
Well, not only is it not helping you, it's actually hindering you. Because whilst you're holding a blame, it might help you to survive initially because it fuels you with anger or whatever it is that you need to get through. But holding on to that keeps you trauma bonded, and it actually is draining you. So if someone has done something to you where you've been victimized, or someone has done something that you class as wrong and somebody else was right, then we're continually sending that judgment, and we're sitting in that anger, resentment, blaming. So in constellations, as I said, we're not looking at forgiveness, but we're actually accepting, as you said, someone was there, this is what's happened, looking at a much bigger picture than that alone. And we're able to let everyone hold their part instead of us trying to hold all of it. And that's what we do. We come in and we hold all of it because we think that we can, and then we resent everyone else for not holding their part. But actually we're like, no, give that to me, give that to me, give that to me. I'm holding all this burden, and then I'm the victim because it's only me that's doing anything here. It's only me that's trying to, I'm the fixer, I'm the people pleaser, I'm the one in the family that, or I'm the black sheep, or I'm the, like, it's true. Nobody's going to say that, you know, no one's going to argue to say that whatever it is that's happened was okay and we'll just sweep it under the carpet. But what we're doing is we're trying to give tools and support to help you be free from whatever it is that's happened that was not okay for you. And that's all. You don't have to agree with it. We're not dismissing anything. We're not going into trauma. We're giving help and support, tools to get you to freedom so that your cells are not sitting contracted with shame, blame, guilt, whatever it is. So it's not about the rational, logical mind to say this is okay, this wasn't okay in history. It's not about that at all. Like you're talking about the energetics of it is, let's just cut through it so we can be free and be healthy.
Exactly, because this has an enormous impact in the immune system. Absolutely enormous. And unprocessed trauma, as we know, and not everybody, you know, terrible things can happen and people can accept it and move on, possibly because they have faith, or maybe because they just prefer that way. But a lot of us don't understand that. I certainly never understood it. I never understood I was causing so much of my own suffering. I never understood any of the family constellations. You know, I'm at this age finding it, still learning on a daily basis about all this stuff, and how it can affect my, because for me it's all about still having energy and still being able to run up mountains and do all the, I want to be able
Enjoy
to
your life.
Aye, exactly. And that, I think, is it's knowing that yes, you were a victim at that time for whatever reason, and again, we can maybe understand that, maybe not. You don't need to understand it, just to acknowledge it and then witness it and go, right, okay, you want to keep that electrocution from the past, keeping thinking about it, keep re-traumatizing, electrocuting yourself over and over again and trying to figure it all out and wishing it was different when it, in actual fact, it's happened. And now we have to find a way to navigate letting the pain of that go, because we know it can be painful, but we also know that I was thinking that this morning, everybody that's coming to this festival to teach on whatever level has healed something, has gone through some trauma, whether it's physical or emotional. That's what happens. And then you realize, oh my God, this stuff works. And then you want to share it with others. And some people are just not ready to hear, but a lot of people are. I love the saying, there are those who see, there are those who will see when shown, and there are those who will not see. So that we're looking for the people who will see when shown. If this is resonating with you at all, come along, meet Vida. Our talk's at 7:00 on the Friday night, and then she's going to be there all weekend, and she's going to be running a workshop on Saturday. She also does online stuff. What's the best way to contact you, Vida?
On WhatsApp, or on the website is www.vidahealing.me.
Oh, right. I didn't realise you had a website.
Yeah. So what I would say, yeah, just on the back of that is I'm not here, the same as I'm not here to convince anyone. I don't need anyone to come and agree with me, take on board what I'm saying into your mind. We don't have to agree with breath work. We don't have to agree with any of this stuff. What I'm saying is, come and try it. I haven't had in any of the festivals, goddess gatherings, everything that we've been doing, not a single person at the end has had anything other than amazement. Everyone that comes to the actual session that witnesses the constellation happening is completely amazed. Now, that's nothing to do with me.
Uh-huh.
It's the space, it's the work, it's what happens, because we've all got systems. We all are part of an energy system. So come and have a look. No one's asking you to pioneer it or get on board. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But if you're in a situation where you're affected, where your life's affected in some way that's holding you back, why not come and try?
I know. Well, it's that. Don't knock it till you've tried it, because so many people are knocking stuff that they've never tried. And, maybe it's not for you at this moment in time. But, again, a big part about the Heal Scotland movement is learn this stuff before you need it. So that if anything happens, if you were unlucky to get a diagnosis or if you were struggling with life, you're like that. Oh, now I know what that is. I can go and try it. I can talk to people that I know understand this stuff. It's about really educating yourself for you and your family so that you've got non-toxic, powerful protocols that you can try should you ever need it. And let's face it, you probably will. Certainly the way our health picture's going, there's a very good chance that we are going to need that. So if anybody's got any questions that's on here before we finish, because Vida and I could talk about this literally all week.
We do.
Yeah.
Whenever the last time we're just the whole weekend.
I know we're so obsessed. And Vida had watched a program about women in prison, and she messaged me. She's like, "Right, we need to get in there. We need to help these women," because it's so frustrating when you look at people and you go, "I know how you could get better, and I know how life would be easier."
At least to support a part that's just completely overlooked. You look at most people in addiction. I've never heard a story of anyone in addiction that doesn't have immediate, as in mother and father, problems. Always, 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 always. And all of them in prison that were followed on that program, they all had so many abuse stories, neglect, and all sorts in their childhoods. It's like it's so simple.
And then we criminalise it and put them in jail. I mean, it's madness. This is 2025. We know this stuff. We've got all the books. We've got Gabor Mate. We've got Johann Hari. We know it. This is what I mean. It drives me insane when we're not using the documented science. We're still working in the dark ages with some of this stuff. And people are suffering, and we've got 15,000, last time I checked, children in Scotland in homes. Like, what? We can't even look after our own kids. This has to be addressed. It has to be, because it's so sad. Because what will happen to these kids? They'll come out, they've been abandoned, God knows what's happening in the homes, 99 care homes under investigation. I mean, it's a mess. I'm not going to get started, but we know the stuff that we do can really, really help. So listen, I look forward to seeing you next. When are you coming? Are you coming on Thursday or the Friday?
I'm not sure yet. I'll message you. I think Friday morning.
Right. Okay. Awesome. And yes, so please come join us at the festival and learn how to help yourselves. Okay. No questions. Any more questions? We will finish it there. Have a great day. Ciao.